What's going on, boys? You remember when all my videos were life videos, except when some of them were gaming? Then we stopped doing that, and there was a nice long stretch in which all my videos were life videos. Well, I hope you liked that time, because we have another life video. Never, ever get too close to anyone, or if you do, keep it quiet. Never talk about it. I don't know about you, but I have an intense urge to become close with people, emotionally close. But whenever you try to do that, something bad happens, and the degree to which it hurts you will depend on the degree to which you exposed your belly, meaning you revealed you wanted to be emotionally close with someone, with people, and how many people know about it, and how positive on them you were before whatever bad happens. The result is worst when you accidentally reveal how close you want to be with people to the point it's embarrassing, and they know it, and worse, you know it because you were trying to avoid that. You don't just lose, you lose at something you are aware of or should be aware of. That can happen any number of ways, but for me, it happens most when I stop being the pursued and end up pursuing. Usually that happens as my being too casual or too personable, or it's hard to explain. Trying to enact the sort of connection or communication you're looking for, and then getting not smacked down, but a confused and even offended reaction, followed by a, I don't know what you're doing, but it's not what we've been doing, and we're gonna keep doing what I want, so go back to faking it for me, sort of deal. What just happened is you revealed you are a squishy person, not an object people can project whatever they want onto, and your desires are less than desirable. And in their mind, and in your mind, you just lost value. And it happened over something you should know better than to do. You let yourself hope for a warm, understanding connection when you know you shouldn't. And in doing so, you just compromised the value the position you have crafted holds. Moments like these are usually the beginning of the end, right? Because even though you know you shouldn't hope for genuine and positive warmth with people, your ability to grease yourself socially to get by is founded on that hope you don't want to acknowledge. And now that you've been smacked a bit and reminded not to hope, your ability to conform is also compromised. Now it's not if things will go bad, it's when things will go bad, and all you can do is hope you didn't get yourself too reliant and not many people know about it. because another thing that stings about these moments is the fact that you are going to look like a fucking moron publicly. Contradicting yourself never looks good, and when you go back on positivity you directed toward people, that looks especially bad. It's like what happened on Forgotten Weapons recently. They were getting ready to publish a book written by a mercenary about his experience mercenarying when, right before it debuts, the book, they find out the dude is a not good person. That is a big yikes because you look stupid, you feel stupid, and you are stupid. Now, I bring all this up so I can talk about some things that happened a couple nights ago and some things that happened a couple months ago, and then I can talk about some things I don't have answers to. Now, I have 3 primary friends right now: INTJ, INFP, and INFJ. I don't see INFP and INFJ often because INFP earned his master's and left, and INFJ is engaged with INFP. A while ago, they invited me to play Dungeons and Dragons with them and INTJ and a few other people, but I dropped out because there is an ENFJ in that party who has extreme contempt for INTJ and a degree of contempt for me for my having associations with INTJ guy. I don't know what is going to happen there. Probably nothing, but NFJs, ENFJs especially, are dangerous when they have that degree of contempt. And again, probably nothing is going to happen, but I don't like being in a minefield around people who don't realize they're in a minefield, and the only other person who might have any idea of what's happening doesn't think it could become an issue. Anyway, the only means of hanging out we all have together now is drinking, and I don't like drinking, but I respect and think I like INFP enough. I didn't mind taking that risk as long as I took tons of precautions, and it wasn't often, maybe once a month, but with drinking, bad things take only once. And I knew that, but without those meetups, I don't have friends. And I should have realized I don't really have friends with alcohol, because INTJ has a pattern with people I hadn't realized I'd fallen into until yesterday, by which INTJ wants to do X risky thing. INTJ invites person to do X risky thing, and only X risky thing. If you agree you're doing something risky you don't want to do, even if you say you don't want to do it, have said you don't want to do it because he keeps on bringing it up, and if you disagree he gets pouty and passive aggressive and you don't really have a friend. But if you agree, regret it, dislike him for it, he holds it against you because it was your decision to agree, and has no onus on himself for being the person who keeps bringing it up. As for INFP, I respect him and I don't think that's going to change, but I tried talking to him about one of my recent coping methods, and he was disgusted with me like I was the embodiment of everything wrong with the world. And I think I might have cleared it up after I explained a little more, but it's like touching a stove. You yank your hand away and you go, owie, I'm not doing that again. And even if you don't do it again, you're still stuck with a burn on your hand for a while. And I'm sounding negative about my friends because publicly I try to be either quiet/neutral or negative about everybody so I don't get my stomach stabbed when things go wrong. And there are definitely positives, but alcohol is such a I would rather not have anything to do with this thing because it makes bad things happen thing, but the only way I can interact with my friends is using alcohol, and I would really like positive human connection, and I'm stupid, so I was willing to go against my judgment, because wouldn't it be nice to have friends? However, I am not gonna let that happen again, because something bad happened this last time, and shitty, shaky, human quotes connections aren't worth that sort of thing happening. And I knew that before, but this is the closest I've come to having a real, stable friend group in 6 years, and I was hoping. But you cannot hope, because if you have to make concessions and excuses and compromise your judgment, especially when bad things happen, it is not worth it. You are better off alone. So, what is/are the bad things that happened? Well, a couple months ago, I got new roommates, and I stumbled upon 2 of them drinking in our common area. One of them is an INFP, and the other is an INFJ, but the cutting sort of one, the ones I tend to get along with. INFP is saying sexual red flag things, and INFJ is clearly uncomfortable. At this point, I am still trying to be nice and sweet and outgoing because I was practicing that sort of thing. You know, leaving cookies, driving them around, helping them with stuff. And all the while, INFP is being a judgy shithead, as they do. Just being nasty and trying to act superior, being in a constant bad mood toward me, while accepting all of the material advantages I was offering. Trying to impose rules on people, being difficult all around. And for whatever reason, still, when people treat me negatively, I try harder to be nice to them and win me over. And when people are nice to me, I tend to be dismissive and mean. If not mean, then cold. I don't know why. I fucking hate that I try to be nice to people who are not nice to me. I don't know why it happens. Anyway, those 2 are drinking, and INFP is saying sexual red flag stuff. And I compliment him on something, and he sticks his tongue out at me. And I think, oh, that's weird, but at least it's a positive thing, I think. And then he starts talking about more sexual red flag stuff. The sort of stuff you don't want to be even spoken because of how not good it is. And he gets up and he comes over and he grabs he grabs me around my shoulder, which if it were anyone else I would welcome, because all I want is a fucking hug from someone who means it. But he has his arm around my shoulder, and I go, okay, well maybe this is some progress. I don't really like this dude touching me, but maybe this is a positive step forward. Maybe he'll start being nicer. And then I notice he's not just holding my shoulder, he's feeling my shoulder, if you get what I mean. And I think that's weird and uncomfortable, and he smells like soured beef and moldy cheese. But then he grabs my waist and kisses my neck. And at this point, two things happen. First, I think, oh, this is what's happening. I don't like it, but I am afraid of saying no because people like that can cause problems, and they are good at causing problems. And at that time, I could not afford any problems. I still can't now, but I especially couldn't then. And the second thing that happens is something that's been bugging me since I was like 12. Constantly. Never, ever goes away. For some reason, my entire life, everyone has always assumed I am gay. And that's fine, that's a harmless assumption, but when everyone assumes something about you for years, it starts messing with your brain. So I experimented with homosexuality just to be sure I wasn't. I even tried to brainwash myself into homosexuality because I had feelings for a Russian dude in ENTP because I thought he was a woman. I still never got complete confirmation he was a dude, but for the thought experiment, with these assumptions, other people's assumptions, in the background, I figured I would try, and I came to the absolute conclusion, no, it is not happening. Can develop close feelings, closer than you would expect if you'd never tried, but that sexual switch stays wherever it's flipped. I discuss all this to say, at that moment, with this weird dude who is saying not good things, grabbing my waist and kissing my neck, I have trained for this. Maybe if I stick this out and let it happen, this person will like me and there will be no problems. INFJ says he's going out for a smoke and invites me out for a smoke, which I didn't realize was his attempt at giving me an out. So I agree, because I kind of did want to smoke, because I was stressed, and INFP invites himself out there, and he keeps holding on to me and kissing me, and he grabs my ass and grabs my balls, and we smoke, and INFJ is fuming, but that is about as far as it goes. And I don't talk about it with anyone because, one, I don't want problems, and two, ever since my grandfather died, I've been on this weird kick of refusing to share things that bother me with people. I get some kind of emotional stimulation when something is eating me up and hurting me inside, and someone is right there I could talk to, and I don't do it. I used to follow that pattern because, if you didn't know, nobody ever helps when you bring things up to them. But ever since my grandfather died, it has become an act, or ironically, an utterance, as it were. Now, back to what happened a couple nights ago. INTJ, INFP, INFJ, and I go out drinking, and I take every precaution imaginable. Besides not drinking in the first place, right? Gotta have friends, gotta maintain your friend group some way. And we end up back at my apartment playing board games, and at this point I think, okay, I can cut loose, because we aren't in public, we're around friends, we're in a safe place. The night is effectively over and everything is cool. Plus, INTJ is crashing at my place, so that's another super reliable person around. I go from buzzed to blackout drunk, make a fool of myself drunk in what feels like an instant, which is bad enough because before I kicked alcohol, I drank exclusively alone, and I never knew how I acted around people when I was super drunk. As I've learned now, when I am around people and super drunk, I play up the mask I wear for them to an insulting degree, because I am trying to insult them, and I am trying to get them to do and say things that I think make them look really bad. The issue with that, besides blatantly insulting people, is all the masks are different, and at that heightened state, I must look schizophrenic or bipolar or something. Yet, at the same time, my need for their approval and affection heightens up, so I'm also using those overstated masks in an attempt to get them to like me. And it's this weird, doubled thing of hating them and trying to get them to hate me, while also trying to get them to love me. It's just awful. It's an awful way to be at that moment. It's an awful way to be afterward. Anyway, INFP roommate comes out at some point and starts drinking with us. And I don't remember a whole lot. I remember INTJ going to sleep because drinking was Skimmerlit's choice. And he's right. He's absolutely right. And everything that happens after that is Skimmerlit's fault, responsibility, whatever. And he is absolutely right. I don't remember much of anything that happened after that point, but I woke up in my room naked with some of INFP roommates' stuff in my room. And I remember he and I having a couple conversations, but I have no memory of what about or what happened or why I woke up the way I did. And I feel ashamed I agreed to go drinking at all, that I prioritized wanting friends over sticking to what I know is right. I feel angry at myself over it, and I feel angry at my friends because of the fact I shouldn't feel angry at them because choosing to go was my choice, but it didn't need to be. Even it shouldn't have been if we were real friends. I'm angry at the fact they have an out or plausible deniability because it was my choice. But if they were the sort of friends I hope for, that wouldn't have been the only option. I'm angry at everything about it. And most of all, I am afraid. I'm afraid because I haven't been blackout drunk in 2 years. I kicked alcohol because of how risky that substance is on every level. And the only reason I started drinking it again at all, even in moderation, even just socially, is because of fucking people. And not being able to have friends any other way. I'm afraid because of what could have happened. So much worse could have happened. I'm afraid because of how quickly it went from buzzed to blackout. It was just like that. I'm afraid of not having friends. It took me over a year to develop any semblance of a friend group, and now it is going to be either gone or changed, which is effectively gone just with extra steps, because you aren't giving people what they want from you, which means you've lost your value to them, and why bother keeping you around? And all this fear compounds on the greater fear I've been living with for a while, which, well, there are two primary things. The first one is, how am I ever going to feel safe? I don't feel safe in my own home. I don't feel safe in my own head making decisions, because every attempted step forward is a step backward, laden with so many consequences you can't begin to comprehend yet. And at any moment, people can take everything away from you, and you can't do anything about it. And the second one being, what the hell am I going to do? Because for the last however many years, I have been replacing band-aids over an instability problem. I've been using universities, degrees, scholarships, fellowship type things, and waivers to secure a little security for a few years here and there. But now that my PhD application got rejected, I need to find something. But I don't have a routine or a procedure proven that I can apply to this that will make everything okay. I have a couple, but all those are miserable. I will find something. I will make something work, because no matter how bad things get, I somehow always manage to land on my feet. But there is an animal fear I won't, and although I have precedent for managing, I have plenty of precedent for not managing. And again, I think this is all part of the process. This is what you're supposed to go through so you can become a hard, ugly person for whatever purpose higher powers need you to be that sort of person to do. But it is never, ever pleasant or safe feeling. Anime God will always throw you a rope, but that rope will always be covered in thorns, and your hands aren't always calloused enough to climb it. That's what bugs me. Maybe not bugs me. It freaks me out, stresses me out, it scares me. That you might not be strong enough to climb the rope even when it's right there. And even that is part of the process. But I don't like how awful life and human beings are. And you can't even talk about what you think or feel unless it's to strangers on the internet, in the way you think and feel them. And even then, I'm afraid that isn't going to last forever either. Which leads us to the last thing, how I've been coping, which stresses me out, which indicates it is an excellent form of coping. In the past, whenever I've been lost, whenever I've been having a hard time, I will fall into gaming because I'm a wicked sweet gamer, and I will build a character in a game and model myself after that character. Originally, that character was Mohawk Skimmerlit, GTA Online Skimmerlit. The person who does whatever he wants, dresses however he wants, and is strong enough to get away with it. When I neared that character for the first time, I felt like I could do anything. And I did a bunch of things I still consider impressive and I'm still proud of, even if those things were stupid and never went anywhere. Genetic Skimmerlit, born Skimmerlit, couldn't have done any of those things. That got torn down. Then came Foggy Woods Skimmerlit. Kindly but serious Skimmerlit. Red Dead Online Skimmerlit. A bit older, a bit more capable, just a teensy bit less stupid, but overall moving in kind of the right direction with the tools to get there. That one has been more of a slow fall apart instead of the fucking lightning strike tire fire that was GTA Online Skimmerlit. but it's still falling apart, and I think it has, based on the other night, completely fallen apart. I was taking so many risks to make positive changes and steps forward. I even almost got my banking details stolen over a sort of trust fall in a relationship, which is a story I'll tell another time. Don't trust people. Never, ever, ever, ever trust people. If they don't care enough about themselves to double check their own shit, they will not care enough about you to double check things they send your way. But now I have been floundering trying to build a confused character who will help me survive this leg of life. It's a stupid and ugly character. It's a character mashing up loosely Patrice O'Neill, Depression-era gangsters in Faulkner novels, villainous INTP characters in manga, any sort of snake-like manipulative people I can find who seem to have succeeded, anyone ugly and villainous, because if the world really is this ugly, then maybe becoming someone ugly will create any semblance of stability. Now, that isn't the case because it is not working, but it's what I've been doing lately. It's contributing to my stress and my fear, but it's something different, and nothing I've tried previously seems to have worked. I'm observing what I'm doing, and it's like I am image training myself. I'm dressing ways I have seen people dress. Patrice somehow managed to pull off hats in the modern era, and I love grimy showmen and salesmen, so I bought a straw skimmer hat. I've always loved those hats because I've always linked them to old-timey showmen, and it's called a skimmer, and I want to be, or I aspire to be, a sort of showman. And I think straw hats are easier to pull off than hats, at least in the South. And all those things are lining up, so I bought one. And I will wear it around my room and do these poses and give these monologues to try to get myself into the mental state of the character I am trying to become. And I've even begun forcing myself to wear it sometimes in public so I can get used to wearing it. Because for some reason, whenever anything is new with you, it seems like people can smell that on you and they will treat you like it's new. Either positively or negatively, there will be pressure. But once you're used to it, once it has become just something you do, people suddenly stop noticing whatever it is for some reason. When I first started lifting weights and I was in good enough shape to wear tank tops, I was so nervous wearing them out in public because they have a stigma. And that stigma was proven right the first 2 times I wore them out, but now they are exclusively the shirts I wear, and nobody ever says anything about them. I am wearing rings. I used to wear these hematite $3 rings just because they were neat and pretty, but they kept breaking because that is a weak metal or whatever it is. When I got my bachelor's, I spent the afternoon with my aunt, because I hadn't seen her in a long time, and we ended up going halvesies on a ring for my graduation. And it's a super pleasant memory of mine because I love my aunt and I love the ring, and she wanted to buy the ring for me, and I wanted the ring and I couldn't afford all of it, but I didn't want her to pay for all of it. So I took the money I had at the time and she let me spend or buy half of it with her. And that was a sweet and important moment for me. And that's the ring I have been wearing for the longest time. Now I have some money and I am buying a nicer ring for myself for getting my master's, and I'm wearing it on my thumb. All of which is a stupid, shitty, arrogant thing to do, but that's exactly why I'm doing it. And people give me nasty looks, especially in my department, because it is a shitty consumerist thing to do, and what else could a certain sort of wealthy people think about that? And what bugs me, or sort of why I'm doing it, is if you dress in no way projecting wealth, people will treat you like a bum. But if you dress in a way that has any sort of pretension to be something more, people treat you like a materialist dickhead. But they, at least the people I'm talking about, are materialist dickheads. You think the English professor with the tweed shirts, or tweed jackets, and the scarves is a myth? No. English professors, some of them actually dress like that because they have pretensions of being these, what do you call them, academic literati critics, at once populist and classist, refined, looking down on anyone with pretensions, but never judging their own. I says they can go screw, because if they're going to judge you for having, and they're going to judge you for having not, better to have, even if you look stupid, and rub it in their faces. Which, by what I said and how I said it, you can tell what I'm doing is not good and not coming from a good place. But I know that, and my knowing that and my doing it or not doing it does not change the fact people think and act the way they do. Have you noticed the way people with bad grammar judge people with bad grammar? It's that sort of thing. And I love most of the professors in my department. They are excellent mentors and are instrumental to my success. But it is just a few stinkers emblematic of a larger, ugly thing that isn't changing and isn't going away. Beyond that whole thing, I have been looking into bands and clothing and other sorts of stuff certain people I've seen succeed are interested in. And I will wear these clothes, this whole outfit at this point, and listen to other people's music and walk around my room pretending to be someone else. It is this hideous amalgamation of ugliness and awfulness based on and designed to combat the ugliness and awfulness of most people. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work because ugliness and awfulness are doomed to fail. And even if I really wanted to become that sort of person, I am not good enough at those things to do those things effectively. There are so many little Saturday morning cartoon mustache twirling villain things I have tried to gear myself up into doing, but I can't. Both out of this is dumb and I don't want to feel like a bad person. Because what would, even if I did, what would that accomplish? It wouldn't accomplish anything. And I wouldn't want people doing those sorts of things to me just to make me feel bad. So why should I do them to other people? It's the golden rule. And people are still going to do those sorts of things just to make you feel bad just because they can. But that doesn't mean I or you should be mean just to be mean. And on that note, while I am sure this whole thing is going to fall apart because it's serving no purpose and isn't working, and it's just a flailing attempt not to drown, my mustache actually does twirl and curl up nice and good, just like Snidely Whiplash or anyone putting anyone in front of a train. I am pleased with that, and when I get on television showing off my books and plugging my channel, you will see my Snidely Whiplash mustache. This is a long video. I feel sick. I've heard university is supposed to be the time you find yourself, and all that's happened over the last few years is every single identity I've ever tried to wear has come unraveled, and people stink, but I am still hoping I will find good people I can trust and feel safe with, and build a happy life with. I wish everything, including me, were less dumb and more clear. But that about rippity wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it. That was a that was a spraying shit of a video, but I have nobody else to talk to, so I'm going to talk to you, and if you don't want to listen to it, you are more than welcome to click out. That's the beauty of YouTube. I get to say whatever I want without burdening anybody. Like if you enjoyed, because that helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit sometimes, and comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. How much of a train wreck are things for you? I would love to read. Remember, if you write a long comment, copy it before you post it, because YouTube likes auto-removing long essays for some reason. But thanks again for watching, everybody. Really, we have a lot of fun on this channel. So much fun, in fact, you can... So much fun, in fact, it can make you want to vomit. Just thinking about all the fun we're having. It's too good and too sweet and too fun, and your body is rejecting it and making you want to vomit it all out. And that's okay. But that's how much we have on this channel, and I look forward to doing this with you guys again in the future.